Are you holding an iPhone right now or secretly dreaming of buying the newest one? Be honest. Does your current phone suddenly feel a little slower, or is its battery draining way faster just as the new model launches? You might think you simply need a fresh upgrade, but what if I told you that exact frustration was calculatedly engineered into your head? Every year, Apple uses elite psychological traps to make perfectly working tech feel obsolete overnight. In this video, we will reveal how they cleverly trick you into handing over $1,000 every single year. Have you ever stood in a store looking at the base model iPhone for $800, only to realize the Pro model with all the shiny features is just $200 more? Suddenly, that $800 phone feels like a compromise, and $1,000 feels completely reasonable. That isn't an accident. It's a genius pricing psychological tactic called the decoy effect. Apple deliberately designs the cheaper base model to make the expensive Pro model look like a bargain. By giving you free options, your brain naturally stops asking, should I buy a phone? And instead starts asking, which expensive phone should I choose? So, you finally decided to buy the phone. But then comes the next clever trap. Storage capacity. Apple sells the entry-level iPhone with a tight 128 gigabytes of storage. You quickly realize that high-resolution photos, apps, and 4K video will fill that up in no time. But to jump to 256 gigabytes, Apple charges you an extra $100. In reality, that tiny memory chip costs Apple less than $10 to produce. By artificial limitation, they force you to spend another $100 before you even leave the store, making pure profit off your fear. Have you ever noticed how your iPhone starts acting glitchy right after a major iOS update comes out? Apps crash, the touchscreen stutters, and the battery dies twice as fast. You start thinking your phone is just getting old, but that frustration is actually engineered by design. It's called planned obsolescence. Apple pushes massive software updates loaded with heavy features that your older hardware can barely handle. They don't break your phone completely, but they make using it so annoying that buying a new one feels like your only choice. Software isn't the only thing Apple uses to make your phone feel old. They also use subtle hardware tricks. Every year, they make tiny design changes, like shifting camera layouts or introducing a new exclusive color, and market it as a massive revolution. Your perfectly working phone suddenly looks visually outdated in front of your friends. On top of that, parts are intentionally paired to the motherboard, making third-party repairs impossible or ridiculously expensive. It's a double trap designed to make keeping your current phone feel socially and financially embarrassing. So, you finally think about escaping the cycle, but then Apple drops the brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max in that head-turning cosmic orange finish. Suddenly, every newspaper header, tech blog, and social media ad is screaming that your current phone is ancient history. But here is the real trap. Even if you keep your phone, your Apple Watch, AirPods, and iCloud storage are designed to work smoothly only within their garden wall. If you switch to another brand, half your daily devices lose their superpower. Apple hasn't just sold you a phone, they've built a digital cage around your entire life. Remember when buying a phone meant you actually got everything needed to use it? Apple changed the game by removing the headphone jack, and later, the wall charger from the box. They claimed it was for the environment, but it created a multi-billion-dollar accessory empire. Suddenly, you needed a dongle for your wired headphones, a new MagSafe charger, and special Type-C fast adapters. Instead of giving you a complete product, Apple sold you a puzzle where every missing piece costs you another $29. It's not minimalist design, it's maximum profit. Buying an iPhone is no longer a one-time purchase. It's an entry ticket to a monthly subscription trap. Apple gives you a tiny 5 gigabytes of free iCloud storage, which fills up within a few weeks of taking photos. Suddenly, your screen is spammed with annoying storage almost full warnings, pressuring you to pay 99 cents, $2.99 or more every single month. Combine that with Apple Music, Apple Arcade, and Apple TV Plus, and you are paying Apple forever. They don't just want your money when you buy the phone, they want a cut of your salary every month for life. Have you ever wondered why the base model iPhone always feels intentionally limited? Apple doesn't just design the base model to sell it. They design it to force you into buying the $300 more expensive Pro model. They lock basic features like smooth 120Hz displays, zoom lenses, and premium titanium finishes exclusively behind the Pro tag. When you compare a $799 base phone with a $1,099 Pro phone, the base phone looks artificially downgraded. It's a classic psychological trick called price anchoring, making you feel like spending an extra few $100s is the only sensible choice. Did you know Apple intentionally uses a psychological war to keep users locked in? In iMessage, messages from iPhone users appear in sleek blue bubbles, while text messages from Android users are degraded into bright green bubbles. But it's not just a color change. Apple intentionally disables high-res photo sharing, typing indicators, and read receipts for Android users. This creates social pressure, making non-iPhone users feel left out or embarrassed in group chats. Apple turned a messaging app into a status symbol, forcing millions to buy iPhones just to fit in with their friends. Have you ever wondered why Apple keynote launch events feel almost hypnotic? It's not an accident, it's psychological manipulation carefully disguised as innovation. Apple uses hyper-curated language with repeating buzzwords like magical, revolutionary, and game changer to make minor updates feel like historical breakthroughs. Paired with cinematic lighting, slow camera zooms, and dramatic pauses, they condition your brain to desire a product before you even know what it actually does. They don't just present technology, they perform a high-budget magician's trick to justify a $1,200 price tag. Think Apple's trade-in program is saving you money? Think again. Apple offers you pennies on the dollar for your perfectly working 2-year-old phone, convincing you that a $300 trade-in credit makes a $1,200 new iPhone a steal. But here's the real trick. Apple takes your traded phone, slaps on a new outer shell, replaces the battery for less than $20, and resells it as Apple Certified Refurbished for $800. They profit twice on the exact same device while making you feel like you got a smart upgrade deal. Ever wondered why your perfectly fast iPhone suddenly feels sluggish after a major iOS update? It's not just your imagination, it's by design. Apple releases new iOS versions tailored for their latest powerful processors. When these heavy updates land on older phones, they exhaust the hardware resources, resulting in stutters, frozen screens, and battery drain. They don't break your old phone, but they make using it so painful that you are conditioned to believe it's time to spend another $1,000 on an upgrade. Apple claimed that removing the charger from the iPhone box was all about saving the environment and cutting carbon emissions. But let's look at the actual numbers behind this green decision. Shrinking the box allowed Apple to fit 70% more iPhones onto every shipping pallet, massively cutting their own freight costs. Meanwhile, millions of customers were forced to buy chargers separately, packaged in individual plastic boxes and shipped on separate trucks, creating even more carbon waste. Apple saved billions in shipping while selling you a mandatory accessory for $29 extra. That's not environmentalism, that's profit engineering. We know about the price anchoring, the green bubble psychological war, the planned slowdowns, and the missing chargers. So why do hundreds of millions of us still line up to buy the next iPhone? Because Apple isn't selling you a piece of technology, they are selling you a feeling of belonging. They turned a smartphone into a global status symbol that silently whispers success. Apple built a golden cage and made it feel so comfortable that we voluntarily hand over our keys. They built the most profitable obsession in human history. If you found this deep dive valuable and want to uncover the psychological secrets behind more mega brands, hit that subscribe button right now and join us for the next breakdown.